Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to Meteorology Lab. We're starting a few hours early here, and it's pretty hazy. The moisture's coming northward, and we're overcast where we are. A little further out to the west, though, we can take a look at the satellite imagery. And we've got those storms going up out to the west there. And this is along the dry line here. Looks like the cold front is still a little further out to the west there. And there's some of those towers in the Gainesville to Denton area. And I had a couple photos sent to me by David Moore. I appreciate that. And that's a look at what I presume looks like DFW Airport there. And this appears to be looking somewhere out to the west, I think. You can see those towers out in that area, and there's another shot. This is only from about 15 or 20 minutes ago, and you can see that even out closer to the dry line, the air still has a pretty hazy look. And some of those towers, they look pretty crisp up there along the tops. All right, let's head into the some of the charts here. In fact, I think we'll stop and look at the radar. We've had a supercell go through the Fort Smith area, and there's a look at how that appears right now. About 10 or 15 minutes ago, you can see we had a TVS indication right there in the Fort Smith area. Just went right over the city. And let's take a look at the storm relative velocity. It's kind of noisy due to ground clutter, so it does help to go up to some of the higher tilts. There's 1.8, and I think I'm going to try 1.3. That's going to be about 1,800 feet up, and it appears there may be a little bit of a couplet right there. We've got about 27 out and 12 in. That rotation is not all that strong, really. But as we go out to some of the higher tilts here, up to about 4,000 feet, we're getting about 86 outbound here. And about 10 inbound, so we're going to have to set that storm motion vector. So let me go ahead and put that in there. I'm guessing that's moving about 25 to 30 knots. And this gives us a little bit more of a balanced storm relative appearance. So here we're getting about 60 out and about 21 in. I guess we could use a little bit more there. And that's looking a little bit better. So yeah, you can really see the circulation there. If you compare that with the base velocity, you might almost lose that due to the inbounds showing up so weak. So anyway, let's go backward and forward. Yeah, back there you can see some rotation going on, and then the latest frame shows that moving very rapidly about 15 miles northeast of Fort Smith there. So there's one look at that supercell there. And we've also got storms back along the dry line. Let me see if I can pull up the Fort Worth radar. Got severe thunderstorm warnings anywhere from about Mineral Wells, Weatherford up to Denton, and Sherman and Durant. And these storms are not doing a whole lot right now. As you can see, they're still looking a little bit young in their life cycle. So over the next hour or two, we should see those start organizing a little bit better as they move out towards that better moisture. And there's the tail end around Glenrose, Stephenville, Hamilton, a few cells down in that area. Let's see what the tops are. Picking up yellow, so that's going to put us in the 30 to 45,000 foot range. Looks like the Sherman cell is up to about 45 to 50,000 feet. And the VILs are not showing any high values right now. Again, this is still pretty young in the evolution of these storms. And let's start looking at some of the charts. There's the surface chart there, and you can see the dry line air moving into the Oklahoma City and Wichita Falls area. Got about 83 over 23 in that region, and even down in Abilene, 86 over 33 with a bit of blowing dust. So we don't hit the colder air until we get out to the West Texas region. We've got 60s and low 70s out in that region, winds gusting up to 40 knots. So I think we can place that cold front something like this here. Yeah, I'm inclined to go something like that right there. So that separates those 60s and low to mid 70s from the warmer 80s out behind the dry line. So the dry line is going to be located, looks like it's just southeast of Junction, and coming up on San Saba, right around Weatherford to just west of Gainesville, and then somewhere just south of Pauls Valley, and then up to Stillwater. So there's our dry line, and that dry line will start slowing down as we lose the heating, and that cold front should rapidly catch up with it. And as you can see here, there is convergence along the dry line. We don't always have that. Let me move this a little bit. There we go. So Weatherford, San Saba, it's going to be roughly around there. Cold front like that. And you can see that the winds are coming together along that dry line. And a lot of times what I've noticed is that when the winds are kind of parallel to that dry line, we have a lot of problems getting initiation along that. And likewise, we can try to find where the strongest convergence along that dry line is. That might tell us where there's some of the strongest forcing taking place. And just eyeballing the chart, looks like there's pretty good convergence there around Fort Worth and Denton. And let's see, looks like the convergence is also pretty good around the Ardmore area, but it's actually better to let the machine work up these values. So I'm going to go to the wind menu here in digital atmosphere. I'm going to bring up the divergence, and that should, wow, it's a pretty noisy field there. I'm going to have to probably ramp down those values. Okay, I'm going to have to tweak that a bit. So let me just jump over to the SPC experimental graphics, because I was looking at that a few minutes ago here. Yeah, there we go. There's the SPC graphics and divergence and vorticity. So what we're looking at here, the convergence is going to be the solid red, and then it's indicating dashed blue is going to be the divergence, and then the vorticity is the fill colors, which is going to be that shading there. So let's see, what do we got going on? There's the convergence right there. It appears that the convergence does indeed appear to be a little bit better stacked up around Weatherford to Jacksboro, Denton, just northwest of Fort Worth. So that favorable convergence in that area, that could signal that there's possibly a shortwave transiting the area, helping to tighten up the wind field and pressure field in that area. And when we don't have that strong concentration of convergence, that tells us that maybe the upper dynamics are a little bit weak, and it can be very hard to pick out a target under those circumstances. So it looks like mostly north of I-30 and maybe south of I-40 is looking a little bit favored, maybe in that Red River region. Okay, I've got a moderate risk today there. Little Rock down to Texarkana and Shreveport. And we definitely got the watch boxes out. These are all tornado watches except for that severe thunderstorm watch way up there in north of Des Moines. And let's see about changes, and mesoscale discussion is good for that. That reflects possible changes in the boxes that we have out. 2043, so yeah, this is going to be the latest here. That's going to be 3:43, about 15 minutes before we went on. And let me just read this real quick. Organization has decreased during the past hour due to effects of the mid-level inversion. Zone of weak temporary subsidence aloft spreading through the region. And so they're looking for things to still be favorable there for supercells and Boeing cells. And they're looking for possible reorganization later tonight. Secondary band of ascent, so we're going to probably look out in this area, check the upper level dynamics, and let me do that real quick. So we're going to head over to the NAM. So we're on the pivotal weather site here, and I'm going to set this up for the national map. And then we'll go to the 500 millibar vorticity. So this is showing what we talked about, I think, yesterday, the channeled nature to the flow there. And by channel, it means these vorticity lobes are kind of aligned with the flow, rather than crossing it like we see like up in this region here. That's more of a advection lobe there. So this is indicating that the upper level dynamics are kind of subtle there and not very well focused. This is noise from the convection that's going up, so we have to try to ignore that there. So let me see if I can figure out anything. I guess there's probably a weak trough in here. This is 21Z 4 p.m. So this would be acting mostly on this area here. So maybe that could be what they're looking at coming in. And also if you look at other model runs, like maybe the high resolution rapid refresh, the rapid refresh itself, or the Canadian model RDPS, or even the GFS, that can give you another look at the dynamics aloft, maybe initialized a little bit differently. I'm sure Cujo's not liking that. We do have a lack of radiosondes up there in northern Mexico, so that can be a factor also. I think there's only maybe 2 balloon launches, if at all. So the initiation of the model in that region can vary quite a bit from model to model. Let me update the visible imagery. I'm assuming this is from the new GOES imagery, so it does look pretty spectacular there. These are the storms northwest of Dallas-Fort Worth there. And I'm going to pause that on the last frame. And there's a look at how things are shaping up, and there's those cells on the tail end around the Stephenville area. Okay, let me see how things are looking in chat. Give me just a second. I just lost the chat page. Let me see if I can get that going again. Okay, let's see here. We got CDMA 531 down there in Houston, 83 over 67 down there, gusting up to 26. Governor Cheeseburger is here, Adam Davis, Michael Burrell, Fun with Tech, Mike R. got the notification. Governor Cheeseburger looking for the severe weather to make it to his neck of the woods. Victor Cabot is joining us, Adam Davis, 80 degrees there in Clarion, so finally a warm up there in Pennsylvania. CDMA mentioned the PDA earlier. Ryan is with us, Showtime. Mike R. says things getting very active back there in Texas. And let me just scroll quickly through the rest of this. Brett Dean is here. 83 degrees with beautiful sunshine there. Megan John getting Grapple. And Dwayne Ward. Ryan is preparing for hurricane season. Running generator test. Doom Chaser is here, mentioning some energy statistics there, and Thomas Copeland is also joining us there. Okay, we do have the hand analysis ready to go, so we'll probably do a bit of that. And that'll give me a chance to take a break here. And this is for 3 p.m., but this will help give us a little bit of continuity for the chart sequence. So I think what I'm going to do is bring some music up. Let me get that going. Okay, I'm going to start on the chart analysis, and we'll be back shortly. Okay, I'm back. I don't know. I really need to screen this music a little bit. Let me get us going a little bit. What I did is I downloaded about 200 or 300 songs off Epidemic Music. It's royalty free, so I don't, have to worry about copyright claims and all that. And I'm putting on a little background music here, and we'll look at the analysis, and let me get through the rest of this. Anyway, I'll be back shortly there.
have seen you here before. Not a coincidence, I'm sure. I hope you're looking at me now from the corner of your eye. Someday I will see more than just your beauty. Someday I will be starring in your movie. Someday you will be drinking your coffee with me. You run your fingers through your hair. Something inside begins to flare. Now you're doing it again. I close my eyes and count to 10. Someday I will see more than just your beauty. Someday I will be starring in your movie. Someday you will be drinking your coffee with me. But if you could be the one I need more, so what am I waiting for? Someday I will see more than just your beauty. Someday I will be starring in your movie. Someday you will be drinking your coffee with me.
Okay, storms continuing to go up at this hour. Got one pretty strong looking cell there near Cleburne, south of Fort Worth. We got this other area north of Dallas-Fort Worth. It looks kind of multicellular. Kind of a line there from about Pilot Point down to just north of north of Fort Worth there. And then a couple of other cells up the line. We still got a tornado warning on that cell, leaving Fort Smith, heading up into the Ozarks. And looks like not a whole lot going on with those cells at the moment up in Kansas and Missouri and Iowa there. Okay, so we looked at the analysis. Let me go back to that. And no real surprises there. I did analyze that other little warm front feature there in East Texas. It seems like it separated air in the upper 70s and low 80s from air in the mid and low 70s there. So a little bit of a difference maybe. So what I would probably do is look at continuity on that feature and see what it shows there for 4 p.m. And should be able to pull that up. Let me grab the current data. Okay, so here we have the 4 p.m. data. And let me try comparing that to the previous hours. Yeah, it looks like the dew points are coming down pretty quickly northwest of Fort Worth there. Dry line coming into the Weatherford Jacksboro area there. And there's the current position. The storms are forming along that dry line feature there, all the way up in Oklahoma. And it looked like there were a couple cells that might be a tiny bit out ahead of that there. Yeah, the cell near Cleburne, that's going to be, yeah, roughly in this area. And it's being fed pretty well by these winds coming up from the south. Dew point around 66, 67 for the inflow in that area. And let me see what else is going on here. Take a look at the Fort Smith radar. And we'll drop that down. Yeah, the cell is looking a little bit more disorganized there. And it appears that the air mass in that region, temperatures are around 71 to 72. So the parcels in that region are obviously not optimal. Cells out to the west, those are still looking kind of elevated at this time. And let me head back down to Fort Worth. And there's our cells going on in that region. Okay, let me take a quick look at chat here. Shirley Keast dropping in to say hello. We've got Adrian Jones, Doom Chasers here, El Nino cooling the oceans. Little discussion there about El Nino. Ryan Toomey, is everybody inside the red zone? Please be safe. And anyway, that's kind of what I wanted to do there. I just wanted to do kind of like a quick chart analysis. And if I see anything interesting going on, any major severe weather cells, I'll probably bring the webcast back up. So anyway, that'll probably be all for now. So we'll see you in a bit, and we'll keep an eye on things. All right, take care, everybody.